On a usual day, a strange man suddenly takes over the school intercom and announces a turnaround in the normal school lives of all the students, as now they are supposed to be the heroes in another world and fight against the Demon King. While this might seem interesting for the rest, Hiiragi Seiichi has it really tough as he gets sent to a wild area completely alone. Watch Seiichi as he strives through the woods alone with the goal of curating his life for a better future. Hiiragi Seiichi is an unattractive and fat high school student who had just gone through a session of usual bullying. Seiichi's classmates are making fun of him and how he stinks when something out of the ordinary happens as a stranger starts announcing on the school intercom. The students are informed that 10 minutes from now, they will be transferred to a separate world to defeat the Demon King rampaging on those lands. The whole situation seems like an RPG when each individual gets a magical status screen and is told to form teams. While the rest of the students are planning to stay together, poor Seiichi faces the same usual attitude and is left on his own by the rest of his classmates. Luckily for Seiichi, the announcer does not leave him alone in this time of despair, and he is granted an extra skill by the system. Before Seiichi could even understand what just happened, he gets teleported to the woods of that world, completely separated from the rest of the students. While the rest of the students were in sort of a pre-game lobby, Seiichi was trying to survive on his own with no food. After a decent while, something finally goes Seiichi's way as he comes across the fruit of evolution that gives him enough energy to go on. The guy finds some more fruit gathered by the clever monkey, and of course, he doesn't let such an opportunity slide. In the next few days, Seiichi had eaten all of his fruits and nothing really was happening when suddenly, his journey picks up pace when he gets attacked by a level 120 monkey. Even though Seiichi was only level 1, with the help of some luck and his horrendous stench, he managed to beat the monkey, which became the turning point in Seiichi's adventure. The fruit of evolution finally started to act, and his physical appearance changed drastically. A period of 5 months passed by, and by this time Seiichi had gotten a lot of skills thanks to his ability to learn from those he had defeated. Things were going okay for him until he got challenged by a pink female gorilla who seems to have an interest in strong men. A battle breaks out where after trying every single trick out, Seiichi goes with a stench technique that ends up backfiring as now the gorilla named Saria had gotten so into Seiichi that she wished to be his partner for the rest of her life. Seiichi realizes just how serious Saria was when she takes him to her cave and basically acts as if she is his wife, feeding him home-cooked meals and taking care of him. Seiichi is getting even more worried as he is no longer finding the obsessiveness of a gorilla weird, and while our protagonist is stuck in his own complications, the rest of the students were getting sword training by the king of the area they were spawned at. Other than Karen Kanazuki, the rest of the students found such training pointless, and in the meanwhile, Seiichi is gathering information about the fruit of evolution when Saria warns him about a dungeon of Xenos nearby. Despite Saria's affection, the sane man inside Seiichi decides to make a run for it, and in his attempt to escape, the guy enters the same cave Saria was warning him about, only to end up in a fight with level 1500 dungeon boss Xenos. Seiichi has no chance of winning, and he is about to be stabbed when Saria jumps in front of him to save his life. Saria was losing consciousness after taking the blow, and that made Seiichi go berserk. The guy started swinging randomly and somehow managed to kill Xenos, who also wanted to meet his loved ones in the afterlife. Seiichi finds out about the skeleton's sad backstory before he goes under his final evolution alongside Saria, who had also become human. Saria decides to dedicate her life to staying alongside Seiichi, and being the gentleman he is, Seiichi accepts the request from the beautiful girl. The pair is rewarded by the manager of the dungeon for conquering it, and after getting some special items, they head outside to begin the real adventure. The pair decides to visit the closest town first, to maybe enroll in an adventurer's guild, and on their way, Seiichi realizes just how much of a monster he had become with his immense strength. They reach a town named Telbert pretty quickly, and after coming to know about the importance of an ID, they decide to register in the local guild as soon as possible. The guild was rumored to be filled with craziness, and Seiichi understands the reason behind it after having a single look. On Saria's request, Seiichi agrees to register in the guild, but they are told to undergo a few tasks to prove their dedication. After escaping some weird men and their fetishes, Seiichi is introduced to their observer named Artoria Glem, who takes the two out to assign some tasks. Seiichi is sent to the church to take care of some orphans, while Artoria takes Seiichi to help with the demolition of an old building. As the two are on their way, Artoria shows some signs of thinking badly of herself, and that she carries misfortune with her. Seiichi notices this on the way, and after Seiichi ends up getting trapped in the rubble of the building, Artoria faces an emotional breakdown. She finds some relief after the guy walks out unfazed, and Artoria tells him to be careful before taking him to the last errand he is supposed to run. Seiichi and Seiichi finally register in the guild successfully, and by this time, Seiichi had gained some affection for Artoria as well, who offers the pair to stay at her inn instead of camping outside. On the next day, Artoria continues to look over the two, as they are supposed to complete a certain number of tasks. Artoria tells Seiichi to find some medical herbs, and in his quest to do so, he comes across a few demons who are supposedly planning out a portal to the dungeon of the Black Dragon. Seiichi gets into a fight against the monsters, but proves that he is the real monster when he absolutely thrashes the demons. Back at the herb gathering mission, despite his efforts, Seiichi is unable to find 10 herbs, so Artoria generously lets him pass this test, telling him to work harder next time. Artoria was warming up to the other two as their final test had arrived. The duo was supposed to demonstrate some real-life fighting against slimes, but the whole training drill took a 180-degree turn as the three got caught up in the same teleportation circles the demons had made earlier. They are sent to the labyrinth of the Black Dragon dungeon, and while they are looking for a way out together, a random trap separates Artoria from the other two. Artoria tries to find her way back to the others, and Seiichi ends up finding the treasure room. Artoria had gotten badly beaten up by mobs by the time she reached the Black Dragon's den. The girl tries her best to fight the dragon, but even her strongest attacks turn out to be ineffective. Seiichi had gotten the news of Artoria being in danger through the party stone she gave him, and just when she is about to be burned by the dragon, Seiichi arrives just in time to save her life. After taking the full blow of the Black Dragon's hellfire, Seiichi leaves Seiichi to heal Artoria, while he pulls out his sword to fight the mighty dragon. Before Seiichi fights, Seiichi reveals how they came here after literally breaking through walls, which makes Artoria wonder why Seiichi is going to such lengths for her. The big battle starts, and Seiichi has a taste of the dragon's power after he realizes that it's level 5000. Despite being at a disadvantage, Seiichi continues to fight with everything he got, and with the help of a sudden sword skill upgrade, he finally manages to cut the dragon down to smithereens. After the victory, Seiichi levels up and receives the powers of the dragon, which includes spatial abilities. The spatial magic was really crucial as the group had no way of returning back to Telberg. Seiichi manages to make his new ability work and succeeds in returning to the city with both girls in good shape. Artoria opens her eyes on the way back and reveals how she is cursed by 2 million bad luck points, earning her the name of Calamity. When the group arrives back at the guild, Artoria runs away in disbelief after coming to know that even the guild owners were worried for her. Seiichi goes after her and remarks how she is not alone before giving her a ring to remove her curse of bad luck. Artoria, however, gets the wrong impression that Seiichi is trying to propose her, but even after realizing that, Seiichi just lets the situation be for now, as he just wishes for Artoria to be happy. On the next day, Seiichi is worrying about how Artoria has been avoiding him ever since he caused the misunderstanding, while having lunch with Seiichi, when she tells the meathead that Artoria isn't avoiding him because of hate. Seiichi is still unable to understand right now, and he heads to meet up with Eris and Gussel at the guild, who sent him to the library to gather information about his friends who were summoned as heroes. At the kingdom, the king and Helios are scheming about getting the students relevant with real battle experience, while at the library, Seiichi finds no information about his friends, but instead ends up reading books about magic, which makes him an expert at sorcery without even his consent. Seiichi is helping a little artist down the street when the smell of some delicious food lures him inside a cafe. Seiichi gets into a conversation about Artoria with the cafe owner and a commoner named Ranzei, who convinces him to be honest with Artoria if he wishes to protect his masculinity. Seiichi does end up confronting Artoria at a sunset, but one thing leads to another and he ends up accepting both Saria and Artoria as his companions, with a little involvement of their mutual friends. Seiichi gives Artoria the nickname R, and things were looking peaceful as of now, but the stable around them alarms us that something chaotic is waiting for the trio. Alongside somehow getting 2 beautiful girls for himself, Seiichi also progressed as an adventurer, reaching the A rank really quickly. While eating at the restaurant, Gussel advises Seiichi to buy himself a horse, as that can be extremely useful and, more importantly, shows the strength of a man, at least according to Gussel, that is. Seiichi had to go shopping on his own, as both of his ladies were busy with some stuff. He arrives at the stable nearby looking for a horse, when the owner reveals how he should also take a part in the royal horse race that is upcoming. After sharing the information no one asked for, the owner proceeds to show some of the animals he has, but Seiichi just finds all of them lame. Seiichi finds an angry donkey named Lulune very interesting, and decides to buy her after she gladly accepts Seiichi as her master. Seiichi feeds Lulune some nice food, and they come across the same little artist whose name is revealed to be Mei. Mei was having a conversation with a prodigy artist who was telling her to apply for the royal art competition. Even though the prodigy artist didn't know how to paint, he does an above-average job at trying to convince Mei. Mei ends up listening to Seiichi when he tells her to go for it, as he will also participate in the horse race if she accepts. The deal is made and Seiichi is ready to race on the big day, but for some reason, Lulune is left behind due to feeling under the weather. Seiichi feeds the fruit of evolution to Lulune, and the fruit makes Lulune go crazy. She just sprints her way to winning the first spot, even though her target was only to get the delicious food that was going to be awarded to the person at the 5th spot. Later on the same day, after Lulune had evolved into her human form as well, Seiichi gets into some trouble with R, who didn't know that even Sario was a gorilla. R takes Lulune to a clothing store in town, and our group is enjoying their time together when 2 Valkyries from the Wimberg Kingdom arrive to escort Seiichi for some reason. While Seiichi is being taken away by Lorna and Claudia, at the Demon King's castle, the Demon King's daughter named Lucia is planning to sign a treaty for peace with the Wimberg Kingdom. The rest of the demon commanders were having mixed opinions until they came to know about how a man named Seiichi defeated the Black Dragon alone, and this changed their opinion drastically. When all the commanders were prepared to follow the orders of their queen, the queen's assistant, Kreese, seemingly had a lot of problems as he desperately wanted a war between the 2 species. While this meeting was going on, Seiichi reached the kingdom of Wimberg, where the ladies released him after revealing how he had also won a visit to Wimberg along with winning the prize of the race earlier. Seiichi meets the captain of Valkyries, Louise, who wastes no time in demanding a mock battle from Seiichi. By this time, Seiichi's classmate had been sent to Balbador Magic Academy, and at the castle, despite Seiichi's unwillingness, he gets thrown into a fight after being handed a sword. The guy ends up defeating Louise, who is a really competent warrior, so fast that even he is left in shock. Louise accepts her defeat and requests Seiichi to be her master. Seiichi leaves for now with Claudia, who thanks her over tea for helping her captain before Louise joins them and resumes to ask for training. After coming to know about Louise's lonely life due to her prowess in swordsmanship, Seiichi ends up accepting her request, as he was also a loner for the majority of his previous life. Louise gets extremely happy and she's trying to start training with Seiichi right away, when a little variable arrives on Infant, as apparently someone in the castle had attempted an assassination on the king. While heading to look into the problem, the ladies tell Seiichi to stay away as they don't want him to get involved. But being an isekai protagonist forces Seiichi to do the hero part, as he uses his ability to detect that the assassin is just a child. Seiichi comes to know that the assassin is an 8-year-old girl named Origa, and his skill helps him in catching Origa easily. Origa tries to get away by taking Seiichi down as well, but the guy just easily incapacitates her. He hands Origa over to the Valkyrie, and comes to know that Origa had stabbed the king with a cursed dagger, so the wound won't heal with any magic spell. Seeing the worry on the faces of Valkyries, Seiichi decides to check up on the king to figure out what he can do. He enters the king's chamber, only to realize that he is Ranzei from the cafe who had helped him with his confession for R. Seiichi really gets under pressure, as along with the Valkyrie, Louise's brother was betting on him as well. Seiichi agrees to try and cure the curse, but it turns out that this genius has no idea of what a curse is in the first place. He starts saying random words that end up somehow becoming a completely new spell and brings King Ranzei back to health. Alongside Ranzei, every single one of the Valkyrie is revealed to be thankful to Seiichi for his help, and Ranzei wishes to reward Seiichi with anything he wants. While Seiichi was busy at Wimberg, Zakai, the instructor who was teaching the students before they were sent to the magical academy, has a meeting with his king where he reveals his concerns for the kids. It turns out that the king was the one who had sent them there on Helios' advice, and he thought of the kids as mere slaves. Zakai is obviously against such an act of cruelty, but before he could say anything to Helios, someone attempts an assassination on the king that makes Zakai pursue them. The devious king further reveals that he was the one who had sent Origa to kill Ranzei, while at the royal bathhouse of Wimberg, Ranzei reveals to Seiichi how he wishes to form an alliance with Lucia as well. Seiichi had chosen his reward to be able to train at the royal palace, and he is chilling on a bench later when the rest of his girls arrive to meet him. R is a little jealous of how Seiichi is close to Louise, and as Louise joins the conversation, all the girls reveal that they belong to Seiichi, which makes Louise proud of her master. After going through his previous life in a weak, unattractive, and maidenless state, Seiichi's life continues as he keeps striving for a better future with pieces of this world's puzzle finally coming together, and with people who love and care for him and have his back. And that would be it for today's recap. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe for more, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.